Assalamu alaikum. This is Sadia Jalali with Muslim Bliss. Wanted to talk a little bit today, since we are in May and it's Mental Health Awareness Month, a little bit about a concept that spurs depression and kind of continues the cycle of depression, and that's the idea of despair or the loss of hope. And I just kind of wanted to remind us that, it's one of the things we really have to actively combat. And one way to do that is to, right now we're in, again, this very strange quarantine time. A lot of people are feeling very isolated, and, there are many people who are feeling, very depressed and very down and very low. And despair does begin to set in. Maybe there have been things that, you have been wishing for or making dua for, and it's just feeling like it's not happening for you. And, maybe you're getting tested in many different ways. Maybe your finances are being tested. Just the relationships around you are being tested. So there's a lot of things that people may be feeling. And one thing I want you to note or pay attention to is go back in your life and think about the previous times that you desperately made dua for something, desperately made dua for something, and it ended up not happening. And when you reflect on it now, you're so grateful that Allah did not answer that dua, right? You're so grateful that that specific thing did not play out the way you thought was best. And actually, the way Allah chose to do it was actually much better for your life. And, that's one way to sort of not despair. That, whatever you may be wishing for, hoping for, wanting to change for you, reminding yourself that maybe, just maybe, the way this particular dua is being answered is actually in your best interest, because it has worked out that way in the past. And then also on the flip side, I want you to go back and really reflect on duas you've made that were answered in better ways than you could have imagined, that were answered more bountifully and more amazingly than what you originally even asked for, right? And all of that comes from Allah, right? He knows and we don't know. And one of the things about despair is we feel like things aren't working out for us. They're just not working out for us. And I want you to kind of go back and reflect on those times in life when it worked out better than you expected, or you're so grateful it didn't work out, and that's our never-ending hope in Allah, right? And our hope in His promise is true, that He will take care. In Surah Baqarah, right? Like, I answer the call of every, supplicant, right? Every person that asks of me. And so we have to be reminded of that sometimes, to not lose hope in whatever Allah's plan is. Despair is, one of the markers of shaitan, right? He despaired in what Allah's plans were for him, and look at the route it kind of took him. And so we have to avoid that feeling as much as we can. Again, it's normal to be feeling low right now. It's normal to be stressed or feeling the trials are getting to be a lot. But I hope, inshallah, through what I just talked about, reflecting back on times, when were you able to see a more hopeful end? When were you able to see the beauty in how something played out? And maybe, inshallah, it'll allow our minds to, just open up a little space for hope. Hope is truly one of the best ways to combat, negative feelings, depressive thoughts. So inshallah, let's work on that. I think it's a beautiful time in Ramadan to hang on to that. And if you haven't met some of your goals in Ramadan, don't despair. Don't despair. That's another, again, trick and way that we tend to fall even further. If today wasn't what you wanted it to be, or this first 10 days hasn't been what you wanted it to be, alhamdulillah, we've got, 18, 19 more days to kind of keep trying, right? If you read one more ayah of Quran today than you did because you don't feel like you're reading enough Quran, that's a win. You did it more than yesterday. So progress, right? Allah's looking for progress. So don't worry if you haven't quite gotten exactly where you want to be. Inshallah, just keep trying to push yourself, go forward in some way, do a little better today than you did yesterday. Inshallah. All right, till next time. Assalamu alaikum.